Then we have our mind, which makes us emotionally aware. We remember, we love, we're sentimental. We hate, we're angry, we're happy, our mind. Our spirit, according to the Bible, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our spirit is just for one purpose, is to be God here. So when you have people say, well, I'm very spiritual, they're not, they're very emotional, it's in their mind. And it's really, you know, our spirit was created to be born again. You know. And that's why we fast. We don't fast for the body or for the mind, although they're affected. You can't affect one without the other. You smell a sycamore tree might bring your mind back to grandma's house. And you might get goosebumps. That's where the mind-body connection is. The mind-body, and even doctors now are talking more and more about the mind-body connection. Nervous stomach, you're nervous, you get stomach. You have a lot of fear, there's kidneys that are involved, bladder, infections, your immune system goes down. So, you know, while we're going to be neglecting the body, what's going to happen to our mind and our spirit? You know, as we're putting off the flesh, there's something that's going to happen in our body that's going to affect our mind, it's going to affect our emotions. Our body, our blood sugar is going to go up and down, it's going to affect our irritability, it's going to affect our attitudes, and it's going to affect our spirit. You know, when you deny a basic requirement for your life, your mind and your body is going to be on high alert. How many people know somebody that was on the way out and just before they die, they're in a coma, they wake up and they're totally alert, and they talk and they speak? That's that mind-body connection. You know, so I did 2 fasts in my life, religious fasts, I should say. I do a cleanse program twice a year, but the last 21-day fast that we did last year was the most prominent in my mind, and it really affected me spiritually. When Pastor was talking about the book and the coal miners, that kind of happened to me. You know, we come in church every Sunday and we shake each other's hand and we say, hey, how you doing? You know, what's going on? How's your job? How's your kid? Oh, great. Oh, Aunt Bessie's sick. Sorry to hear that. We'll pray for her. See you next Sunday. And, you know, and we're out the door. And, yeah, we'll pray for each other. Maybe we'll say, well, I'll pray for you. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. You know, but what happened to me, and it's just on a personal note, I started really grieving. I started grieving for the lost. Somebody I didn't even know would come Tuesday night prayer meeting. It's just something welled up inside me. And when I was really touched by the restoration of God. So when we were praying for a lost teenager, when we were praying for, and before then I would pray, I would get a little touched by it, but something happened when I denied my flesh any food for 21 days. And it happened pretty quick. And it really changed my life, so I'm really looking forward to this, because I'm expecting God to touch me again. And everybody here should come in with expectations of God, because you're doing this sacrifice. God's going to do something in your life. He's going to do something. It might be small, it might be big, but when God does anything, it's very defined and riveting. And then when I would hear somebody coming back, a prodigal son, I'm a prodigal son. You know, I'm an ex-alcoholic drug addict that saved in my, I tell people my life story, and they don't believe it because I don't look like it, but I was a prodigal son. So when I heard those stories, I just start crying, and I cried for 2 days. You know, I'm like, oh my God. And I know it's a physiological, because the blood sugar makes you more emotional. Now you're getting more emotionally aware, getting more physically aware. I can smell somebody eating a saltine 3 doors down. You know, I don't have a good sense of smell. I can hear things that I could never hear before. Because when your body is made up of electrons, you have neural electricity in your body from your brain. When it's not spending time in digestion, it's sending its energy or its electricity somewhere else. And those are your 5 senses. So, you know, my wife's like, why are you crying? You know, oh my God, it's fast, you know. And she's very supportive of me, but she couldn't figure out why, because she has digestive issues. She can't do a total fast, but when I did no food whatsoever, by the 2nd week, you know, you could tell me you stubbed your toe and I'd be praying and crying, you know, before you stubbed your toe. But when I would hear those stories, I would really get emotional. And it never really changed, but over this last year, it deadened. And I don't want it to deaden. So if I've got to just give up food for the rest of my life, I'm really determined that this time I'm going to meet with God. the books. They have the devotions in there that are really good and really structured. If you need structure like I do, it's really, really good. But you're going to find that you're going to have a lot more time on your hands. And if the person you're living with isn't fasting, you're going to learn to hate them. Because they're going to eat, you're going to smell it, everything else. I mean, literally, when you take out a carrot, you're going to, wow, I can smell that carrot. Wow. You know, and before, you can only smell pepperoni. So, you know, how many couples in here are fasting together? It's great because then you can be support, but you are going to want to kill each other. You know, because it's going to be so emotional for the two of you that it's, you know, that's why praying is such an important part of it. You know, I wish I had $1 for every time my wife said, "Would you just eat? Please eat." But that was the first part. Now let's talk about it now. What happens? And the first part. By the second week, when your body gets used to, and it's already eaten its reserve, it's starting to go after more than just your torso and your digestive tract and your intestines. That's when the toxins are out of your body, and you really start feeling the difference. The first week is the toughest, in my experience. Okay, the 21-day means it seems like a very long time to go without food. It's really not. You can go without food for a long period of time. I think people in Ethiopia and India prove that. There's gastro-bloating, different things that go on, but you can go you can't go a long time without water. Christ did for 40 days. That was supernatural, because you really can't go more than a few days without water before, you know, your respiration, you're breathing out water molecules like you see when you go outside and it's cold. You see that steam, it's visible, but we're constantly expelling water. But it seems like a long time, but for the first 3 days of the fast, your body uses up the food remaining in your digestive tract. So the first 3 days, you're really still eating, because you have your mucosal lining and you have food in the folds and pockets of your intestines. So it takes 3 days for that to evacuate. And you may or may not go to the bathroom, have bowel movement. It may use all of the reserve. You might have a little, or you might go a lot, depending on your metabolism. All the previous meals, and then you have fat and nutrition that's covering your entire digestive system. So you really, the next couple of days, your body uses stored food reserve from the liver. So now the liver fat. The liver starts jumping. Everybody thinks liver is a big filter. It is. Kidneys are a filter. But the liver actually holds a store of nutrients and distributes your hormones and phytonutrient transmitters and different things in your liver. We're going to talk about the blood sugar and how as soon as you eat and when you stop eating, what happens to your blood sugar. And but that really means that you don't start really fasting until day 5 after you stop eating. Now that's a total fast. If you're taking in juice or blended vegetables or a small amount of vegetables, your body it'll have the same process, but you're never really completely out of nutrition or food. But even if you did a total fast, it would mean that the first 5 days are the most difficult. 5, 6, 7, the 3 days after the first 5 are really difficult. And after that, your body begins to use reserve fats, misspelling here, and proteins around your digestive tract and your torso. And that's different with everybody, depending on, you know, mine will probably be a good week anyway. But it'll start using the fat around your digestive system as a protein, and then you see that you start, you know, everybody, this is the first place that it shows up. That starts using that reserve, then it goes to the muscles and the extremities. So you have some people that are thin, some people that are overweight or not the weight they want to be, and that has to do with metabolism. You know, you can have people that all they eat is vegetables and they're still overweight. It has a lot to do with metabolism. Now, I already talked about wisdom on what kind of fast you should do, whether a juice fast, a blended fruits and veggies, or a partial or a total fast. You know, we're going to discuss all of them, but you really have to use wisdom. If you're pregnant, you got to eat, you know, and you don't want to detox too quick. If you have diabetes, you really need to consider not doing a total fast unless God supernaturally calls you, but you know, it's going to be too hard on the body. If you have an illness, you know, you might want to just consider doing a partial fast. And I think most people, you know, when I ask for a raise of hands, that's when I want to get a direction which way to go, because most people are going to either fast 1, 2, all meals, or just juice, or they're going to do, and some few are going to probably do a total fast. And we're going to talk about how you should do that. Those first 5 days, you should eat a little something, taper off. Actually, can you move this out of the way faster? Can somebody give me a hand?
I got it.
Down, 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 and out. Right. Yeah. Thank you so much. So, you know, I can talk about all the different physiological effects that happen when you fast, but I'm pretty much going to just talk about blood sugar, because that's the number one thing. And that's the thing that makes us irritable, that's the thing that gives us headaches, that's the thing that really makes us feel really the sickest. So, you know, I'm not going to go over all the notes, I already talked about the pregnant women, but you can go through the notes as you're going through your fast and kind of revert back to them and remember, and if you take notes on the printout that we gave you, go back to it and try to figure it out. And then if there's a question that's not answered, I'll put my cards. I've got other literature on the table too that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But you can take my card, give me a call if you have an issue. You know, just call me. If I don't get back to you right away, I will, and I'll give you. I also text. My cell phone's on the card too, and you can just ask me a quick question and I can help you. Okay, we're going to talk about sugar again. This is the number one effect of fasting. And this is the effects on the mind. And it's blood sugar. And it's glucagon, which is a hormone that's secreted by the liver. Everybody thinks blood sugar, pancreas. That is pancreas. Pancreas does the insulin. But your liver is what, as soon as you eat, your liver goes into action. Every 3 minutes, every drop of your blood travels through your liver. Not only to filter, but to figure out what it needs to put out for digestion. And all the organs of the body work together. You have the adrenal glands, which get stressed, which orchestrate. Your heart doesn't even beat without your adrenal glands, but your adrenal glands sit on the kidneys. And they also put out information for the thyroid and for the liver. So it's like an orchestra in the body. I could tell you all, I could stand here for hours. So last night when I was breaking this down, I'm like, okay, I got to choose one. I can't choose. Well, blood sugar is the most important. You know, the pancreas raises blood glucose levels. Its effect is opposite of that of insulin, which lowers the blood sugar, but they're sisters. They work together. Both are affected when fasting. The pancreas releases or withholds glucagon when blood sugar, digestion, glucose levels fall too low. So if you go into durations, how many people get irritable if a meal is missed? You know, if you know you got to eat, you know, I know when my wife has to eat, she hasn't eaten in a while, because she gets like, all right, we gotta eat now. So, you know, I'm like, hey, all right, we're going. I can go a long time, I don't have blood sugar problems, but I have to be sensitive to her. If that's you, then you probably should be doing small amounts, especially at the beginning, small amounts of juice, blended, or a piece of carrot, small piece of carrot, like a bite, and just let that sit in your mouth and chew it up, and do that, bring little bits to start until you get into the fast. If you just quit cold turkey, you're probably going to kill somebody. Especially if you live with them and you're cooking. So that, you know, you can read up on that, but there's many different start fasting, the liver just starts dumping. So it's dumping bile. You know, if you have gallstones or fatty liver or fatty gallbladder, it's going to thin out. You could have cramping, you could have gas, you could have bloating. You know, and that's the number one thing I hear. I would love to fast, but I get too irritable. And then when I do the juice, I'm gassy. You know, and I'm going to talk about why that is and how to prepare juice. You know, in the extreme of that, you would want to cook all your juice. You want to boil all your juice, blend it, and then boil it, and then strain it and take it with you. Because it still has the nutrients and has about a third of the enzymes. Or you might want to do a digestive enzyme with it. Now, I have a lot of different products, so if you feel like you want to take some raw nutrition in a pill, I have food concentrates that I tend to do because I have borderline thyroid issues, and I have a history of diabetes in my family. So I take a raw concentrated pill grown on a farm in Wisconsin. You know, I mean, it's a 95-year-old company, and that's what I use in my practice, so I'll take that because when I did my 40-day fast, I lost like a lot of my hair. It was, I mean, I was showering, it was coming out the handle, you know. And although we want to be dedicated to the Lord, I like to. So, and that being said, also the liver is you know, a storehouse. It also affects hormones, female and male. We all have both. So, you know, nobody, and I'm sure a lot of ladies don't want to have, you know, facial hair. So there's alternatives to that, and if you're juicing, you really don't have to worry about that because your body will grab what it needs, vitamin, mineral, enzyme, and in a raw form. I don't recommend taking a synthetic vitamin. And, you know, I'm not going to get a lot about the synthetic versus whole food. The whole food is the complete way God made the whole complex. Greatest example is ascorbic acid, which is taken from corn syrup. It's the vitamin C and everything in GNC. So when you go to GNC, the vitamin C isn't in its whole form from a green or an orange. It's a synthetic. It's just part of the molecule. It's 2 parts of a 9-part molecular structure. So if you look in a microscope, so if you only give your body 2 of those parts, it's going to cause imbalances, and it's going to look for the rest of it. So people bring in all their supplements when they come to see me, and I tell them, stop for 2 weeks and see how you feel. And then come back, because you're taking all the stuff, you know, everybody has it. How many people have a shelf full of supplements? They have no idea what they're for. You know, you got a bunch of them in there. I got this at Walmart, I got this at GNC, this is the nutrition guy gave me. I don't know what anything's for, but I'm just going to take it. That confuses the body. And then you get the genetic differences. You know, you get historical and genetic differences in your body. So it's like taking a big brush to do a painting, you know, specific. So I tell everybody, food is the best source. Whatever you can't possibly eat, or if you need a lot of nutrients for one specific reaction in the body, you take a whole food concentrate. Because, you know, for me, I had liver problems. I weighed 268 pounds at my maximum weight. I had fatty liver, gout, male pattern baldness, psoriasis, dermatitis. I had a bunch of stuff. And when I first came to Connecticut, I'm from Boston, I came to Connecticut, and the nutritionist said, listen, you really need betaine that's mostly found in beets. But if I tell you to eat, you know, 4 steamed beets 3 times a day with the greens, you're probably not going to do it. And he was right. But I have a pill that is equal to, 1 pill is equal to a beet. All the nutrients, the fiber's been removed, and you swallow it, you know. So I actually chew them up now. I like them. But it's a little red pill, and it helped with the fat in my liver, and it helped my liver problem. And I eventually got healthy and lost weight. But I said all that because if you take a synthetic, especially if you're doing it fast, people think that, well, I'm taking a vitamin, that's good for me. But it can actually build up toxic in the body, especially ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, which is in all of them. You know, you're better off having some cilantro or some parsley. That's 10 times the vitamin C of an orange. Throw some of that in your juice, or juice just that, or cook just that. Because the synthetics will make you sick. Calcium carbonates that they mostly use, which is in a raw form of calcium lactate is calcium carbonate, which is in most Citracal or a lot of the calciums, they can cause kidney distress and gallstones, and kidney stones, bone spurs. It's been proven. And maybe not in the quantity that you buy from CVS, but if you start to fast, your body's going to look for that and take it all, not know what to do with it, and it can cause other problems. You know, synthetic vitamin A builds up in the body. It's dangerous, says it right on there. Do not over iron. Vitamin E. When you make it into a synthetic form and you remove it from the way God made it on the earth, it builds up in the body doesn't know what to do with it, and it becomes dangerous, and it says it right on the bottle. But you can't overeat vitamin E in fish. Your body will use what it needs, gets rid of the rest. You can't eat too many carrots other than turn orange if you do, because that will, the carotene will actually go to the skin and make you orange. So if you're juicing just carrots, and you think you have jaundice or liver problems, you probably don't. Back off on the carrots. It's about 3 days to. I had a lot of people in my practice, I'm juicing carrots, and I got liver problems. You know, too much vitamin A. But the orange pigment actually will come out through the skin. A little sidetrack here. I knew a woman, and she was written up in the paper. She was from Greenwich. She was 89 years old and had lymphoma and I think a pancreatic or a liver tumor or something. And all she did was juice carrots. And she was orange. You know, the neighbor said, "Here comes the orange lady." But I think she's still alive today. All her symptoms went away. A carrot root alone has over 200 nutrients. Half of them, science knows they're in there. Half of them, they don't even know what they do in the body. God knows. So, as much as possible, and just a small amount goes a long way. You know, one bite of carrot will sustain